Now she is back to tell us how. In celebration of Donate Life, Sherry Patterson and family here to tell us about this great gift. Stay with us. Well, look who's back in the house. We are so grateful to welcome this team back to What's Happening in Health. We have Sherry, Lee, Cameron, and Mo. They are joining us, but we want to first remind you of Sherry's backstory to explain why.
I was in hospice care at home, so we were really just waiting for the end.
Just a few months ago, we introduced you to Sherry Patterson. At the time, her Sherry Needs a Liver Facebook page said it all. Sherry was literally dying while waiting for a liver donor. At the time, I reached out to Dr. Shimel Shah. He's the director of the Transplant program at Ohio's University of Cincinnati. His team transplants both deceased and living liver donors.
We take about 60%, 65% of a donor's liver, and so they're left with 35. But that 35% will grow and double to about 70% in a span of about 6 weeks.
When our story aired, Sherry and Dr. Shaw had never met.
So I called her up and I said, hey, I'm so-and-so. We were on this TV segment with Liz Bonas together.
And because of that, Sherry told me she transferred her care to Dr. Shaw's team. And from her hospital bed this week on FaceTime, she told us,
Friday night, Dr. Shaw called me with a liver offer. And I came up here at UC about 8 o'clock at night, and I was receiving my transplant about 3 a.m.
I think she was on the list for 3 days.
For Sherry and her husband, Lee,
it is a miracle, and my body functions everything's working on its own now.
This team is absolutely amazing. From the beginning, when we first came in, to all the way up into her transplant, and then after. Oh, wow.
Part of the reason Dr. Shaw's team has been so successful in these pandemic times is that they carefully screen any available organ.
We're even transplanting COVID-positive livers now.
If the organ is appropriate, they transplant it. I know your donor, of course, is protected and anonymous, but if you could say something to that person now or to their family, what would you say?
It feels like such a gift. It's hard to describe the feeling. I'm very, very grateful.
Well, we are so glad to welcome back Sherry, Lee, Mo, and Cameron. Brother-in-law, son, husband. Sherry, how are you?
Wonderful.
How's your health?
Amazing.
Everything's
great. I just had my stents removed yesterday from my bile duct. Don't even need them anymore. So
wow.
I'm doing amazing.
So that means everything's open and the blood is flowing. And
everything's working. Right back to where I was before I got sick.
So I know you watched her deteriorate. What's it been like to see her come back to life?
It's been incredible. I didn't realize what kind of shock I was in through all of it. But to see her now and see her from even 6 months ago, because, she's in hospice. Yeah. So we had no idea what variable we needed to get her here. Yeah. But then you came.
Oh, we got Sherry back.
Yeah, we did.
Your story never gets old for us either.
No.
The miracle that had everything come back together. So how is it having Mom back?
Wow, like it's basically like if I'm gonna even just get my mother back, and for the past 2 years, just been thinking of that, then here we are now.
So you had a little scary time, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very.
So what do you notice now that she wasn't able to do before, or things you're able to do together?
Trying to figure a way to describe it a little bit. It's basically like everything's just back in action.
You can go out and do things again.
Yeah,
Hockey.
Yeah, hockey. Yeah. Just do all different types of activities that we can even do before.
So, and didn't I recall you guys have a love for music?
Yeah.
So you get to go to some concerts now.
Yeah.
You planning a few of those?
All summer.
Oh, awesome. And Mo, you've been just like the silent supporter. You kind of had to, step in and just be there. So how are you doing?
I'm transitioning right now because I just moved back home 3 weeks ago. So I have to get used to living in my own home, and I have to get used to not taking care of someone, because every single day I was with Sherry during the day while Lee was working. So, I'm kind of transitioning into not being a caregiver anymore, and so that's,
Well, there's
it's a
two
little
things. You're
iffy.
getting your own life back. Praise God
Yes.
for that.
Yes.
But also, it's very stressful on caregivers. Lots of
Yes.
times when you're in an illness, the caregiver gets sick as well. So we're glad you're well.
Thank you.
And
Thank
what
you
a
so much.
sacrifice to make. How do you feel about people that were just willing to do that?
It's the support system here really kept me alive. They really did. Putting my IVs in, all of that. It's just amazing to have 3 men, really.
You know what? I didn't think about that, but you're right.
Just back me up when I was sick.
Yeah.
I'll be forever grateful to them.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I mean, he literally moved in.
That's some sacrifice. That's
kept
amazing.
his own place.
Yeah.
So it was definitely a gift.
Yeah, and people don't realize all the full-time care.
It was a
Well,
lot.
part of the reason we wanted you back here is just on a whim, we've never done this before, we entered your story for the Ohio Associated Press Awards and won second place last week. We went up to Columbus. James Harrison is our health photojournalist, and I told him he absolutely has to be in here because, James, do you remember what you said? You got to get close to me so we can hear you. Do you remember what you said we were leaving this story?
Not really, remind me.
You said, I don't know why, but being there makes me happy.
Yes.
Do you remember that? He actually felt the love that you guys were giving. I don't even know, but I remember you saying that
I did say that.
as we drove away.
Well, I just felt like something good was going to happen to you. And I seen the support between Mo, Cameron, and Lee. It was just like, wow.
And I don't think you'd ever said that before.
Because we were so far out, I was like, no way. So it was good to be there.
Well, your karma came true, and we have never submitted anything. We've never won an award. We just wanted to say thank you for letting us just be part of this journey.
Oh, thank you.
I think we almost said something like that too. It was like you guys were a part of our connection.
You
It
were.
was really interesting when you guys came to visit. And we kind of decided, but we didn't know that it was going to go that direction because we had been waiting over a year.
Yeah.
And as soon as you guys came into the picture, everything clicked. So,
Well, the most amazing part of
Makes
the
sense.
story was that while we were trying to put it together, you guys were at a different health center, and I had tried to reach out, and they refused to go on camera with me, and I was so mad. And then I almost was worried about contacting the University of Cincinnati because I knew you weren't their patient, and they were so kind. And then to see how God had a greater plan with my frustration and
Right.
yours, because we were like, he's like, well, what are we going to use for video if you don't have any talking and you don't have any video? And that's our discussion we have all day.
But it just felt like family when we were there, though. It did. When I walked away, I was like, oh, that was cool, and it was family. And throughout the whole process, I felt good about the story. So, and I'm glad it showed, with an award.
We felt really blessed. We've never had a story like this. We're grateful that it was recognized, and mostly we're grateful that you're well. So, thank you, James.
Thank you, Liz.
Your karma just kind of carried over. We are so grateful, and thank you to you. We're going to have you stick around because before we end our show, we are on Easter weekend, and we want to talk. We want to talk about facing our fears and all the kind of rest of the emotional journey you guys have been through. But again, we just really appreciate that you have shared your success with us, and we just feel so blessed to know you. That's how it is.
Likewise.
yeah, it was ours.
All right, you noticed their shirts. We're going to talk more about that coming up, but we do have more information. If you are interested in becoming an organ donor, living or deceased, all of that is on a link at what'shappeninginhealth.com, and we'll be right back. And look good, feel better.